Coming up next on the Inherited
Don't be
Podcast.
upset with me. I will put in my 2-week notice, but I'm going to miss the opportunity for my life notice. So I literally quit that day, and I started at the Soldier Proof Network the next day.
Hey, that's
The
crazy.
next day. And from there, it was just, I pretty much asked them, could I film them and get paid? She was like, not right now, just do an internship. So I interned for a little bit, got familiar with the camera, and I shot one video that did really good. And now I got Nehemiah Davis hitting me up. I got Alex Good Energy hitting me up. They're like, hey, I want you to shoot a video for me, but I want my son to be able to hear stories about his dad long after I'm gone. That motivates him to be better than me. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So I'll be like, hey, bro, you don't have to follow us. Don't worry about giving us a follow. But just like our first 3 posts, as soon as they like that first 3 posts, I'm going home, I'm setting up a retarget ad. And I'm targeting all the people that visited my Instagram account or that visited my Shopify account within the past 30 days. I'm hitting them with a retarget ad where it's like, it's either an introduction to the brand or it's a, like, I can't turn this down type of sale. So our shirts, we were selling it for $24.99 and I would put it on sale for $9.99. But I would have people
building a legacy, so watch how you step to me. You know it's inherited, ain't no comparison, stacking up guaranteed. Moving so militant, consistent and disciplined. Getting that paper and stacking it up, no time for no chillin', man. Building a legacy, so watch how you step to me. You know it's inherited, ain't no comparison, stacking up guaranteed. Moving so militant, consistent and disciplined. Getting that paper and stacking it up, no time for no chillin', man.
Yo, what's good? It's Sir Gates. You're now tuned to the Inherited Podcast. Once again, thank y'all for coming back week after week. And as always, make sure y'all go to YouTube, hit notification bell, like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you download on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. So let's get right into today's episode. We have today Mr. Ronzell Teague, content creator and producer on the Social Proof Network podcast. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Good, brother. Glad you came here, man. You know, it's been, I want to say rough getting back started for the top of the new year, but thank you for pulling up and coming to have a conversation with me,
dog. Man, thank you for having me once again.
Nah, man. For sure. So before every pod, right, I love to do an icebreaker. I'm gonna ask you a question, and we both gonna answer it, of course, but I'm gonna ask you first, and you go first. So let's see what we got, right?
Okay, bet.
So share one valuable life lesson you've picked up from your upbringing.
Man, honestly, I would say treat others as you want to be treated.
I love that one.
So growing up, man, my parents always believed that if you do good, good will come back to you. So I kind of carried that throughout my life. They treat people how you want to be treated, and good things will come back. So I always try to be respectful. I always try to be professional, like being on time, you know, and I always just try to give my best effort at everything that I do. So I'm going to kind of mix it up. I would say also make sure that you work hard and give your best effort. Because my whole life I've been doubted. I've been the underdog. You know, I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'7".
Taller than me.
Yeah. So I had to be the guy that went from being picked last to working hard and now being the captain, being able to pick people, you know, so stuff like that. So like believe in yourself, have faith, work hard, and treat people how you want to be treated.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
So for myself, it kind of two things bouncing off, but a little bit different. So my dad, he used to always say, "No, there's more than way to skin a cat."
Okay.
So with that information, it has allowed me to know just because this doesn't work doesn't mean it can't be done.
I like that.
So I take that mindset into whatever I do, as far as I may not know now, or just the skills I have now may not be applicable, but don't give up. Like it's many ways to do this one thing. You know, some things may be a one directional thing, but most things aren't, right? So it's just, don't just sit here and say, oh, I lost this way or I failed this way and just give up from what you're doing. Just go back to the drawing board and think of that other way to skin that cat. The saying is a little weird, but who out here skinning cats? You know what I'm saying? But the analogy works out great. But also with that, my parents they used to tell me, you know, when you're doing something right, especially for somebody else, always do it in a manner as if you're doing it for yourself, like up to the quality that you would love for you, right? Because it just plays in a part of, say, like with the studio, right? If I just did it just to do it, it could have been trash, audio bad stuff, hanging, but because I know how I value quality and looks, I'm gonna do it for them, but as if it was for myself. So I'll take that in whatever I do. More than way to skin a cat and doing things as if I was doing it for myself. So
I like that.
Those kind of raised me in a quality over quantity kind of guy, and just stay true to what you're doing and keep it going.
I
So
like that,
that'll be mine, man.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Yeah, I know. That's a good answer. Yeah.
Pops and my dudes did some good stuff. Shout out to Pops and my dudes, man.
Shout out to Buzz.
All right, so let's get into the podcast, right? So like I tell people all the time, I feel as if where we come from, our past, our story is our testimony. And your testimony is someone else's deliverance or motivation to get them up off the couch, wherever they at, and say, hey, if Ronzell did it, I can do it. Or not even just that, just if I see what this guy's doing, let me get up off my butt and go chase my dreams. Or he's going through it just like me, I'm not alone. So I want to just go back to the beginning, right, to your origin stories, like childhood, growing up, family, middle school, high school, just your environment, and just your whole upbringing to say what you done then is kind of what got you to where you at now. So just take us back to the young times.
All right, man. So for those who don't know, my name is Ronzell Teague. Right now, I'm 26 years of age. 26 years old. Let me be normal. All right, but I grew up actually in Conyers, Georgia. I'm born at Grady Memorial Hospital downtown.
Grady, baby.
All right, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. But long story short, man, I grew up in Conyers. So my dad met my stepmom when I was 2. And I've been growing up in Conyers ever since. The reason that I actually grew up in Conyers is because my stepmom believed that in order to be successful, you have to be in the right environment. And she believed that education was key, you know. So she put me in, you know, the Rockdale County school system, and it really did help me out. It just allowed me to focus, be around the right people, and, you know, chase my dreams. A lot of people will get on here and say they're from Atlanta, they've been through the mud. I mean, we've had hard times. I'm not even gonna lie. Everybody has hard times. We've had the water cut off. We've been evicted before. So I've been through a lot of stuff, but I think the most important thing is just realizing where you come from, the sacrifices that your parents make for you. And, you know, my goal was always just to make my family proud. So, but yeah. So I went to C.J. Hicks Elementary in Conyers. And it's crazy, right? Because I wasn't a good kid. Like,
really?
If you ask some of my childhood friends, I was getting into fights. I was in ISS. I was just honestly just being a class clown to impress the girls. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even gonna lie to you. You know,
you use a story you get sometimes. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. But eventually, I got tired of just getting in trouble. And what really shifted my whole mindset is when my mom died when I was 12. So throughout this time of me being 2 all the way up to I was 12, my parents did the best that they could. So you had my stepmom, my dad, and you had my mom. My mom lived all over the city. She lived on the south side, College Park, Tar Boulevard. She lived on Glenwood. She lived in all the rough places. And then my stepmom and my dad, they lived in Conyers, which is, I consider it to be a good area.
Polar opposite, yeah.
So I was able to see both sides. I would go to my mom's house on the weekend where you hearing gunshots, you seeing dog fights, you seeing drug deals. And then I would go to my dad's house and none of this happened. So it was a culture shock. But once my mom died, that really shifted my mindset because I realized that tomorrow's not promised.
Facts.
So I really did everything for my mom, honestly. Now, I want to shout out to my stepmom as well because she's the person that molded me into being respectful, being a gentleman, you know, but it inspired me to just be somebody. Like, my dad always asked me, like, who are you? What does your name mean? And I always told him, I really don't know. And he was pretty much saying, man, you got to figure out who you are, make a name for yourself, and that's pretty much what I did. So 7th grade, when I lost my mom, I decided to just go hard at everything. Every single thing that I can do. And I was good, you know, like I tried the best at everything that I could, but what made me lock in was really just the mindset of just making my mom proud. That was my whole thing, make my mom proud, make my mom proud. So every single assignment, I tried to make an A. If I wasn't getting an A, I was asking for extra credit. If I wasn't asked for extra credit, I was staying out the school. You know what I'm saying? And that transitioned to like the sports. So growing up, man, I did football, basketball, baseball, everything to pretty much stay out of trouble. But I was doubted so much that it just pissed me off, and it made me work hard. It made me lift. It made me just want to be the best person that I can be, not only to make my parents proud, but to make myself proud. So eventually we going through middle school. I'm making A's and B's, honor roll, And my stepmom like, you can get whatever you want. I'm like, oh, go crazy. You know what I'm saying? I realized once I started doing good, I get rewarded for doing good. So why not just continue that legacy? Yeah, why not just continue that? So I keep the work ethic going through high school. And I had a class in high school in 9th grade. And I told the teacher, hey, my goal is to be the valedictorian. And I'm just speaking it, you know what I'm saying? Just writing it on paper. But we fast forward all the way to my senior year. And they called me, and this is how it happened. So a teacher had called me, and I'm doing construction with my granddad. I'm telling you, I'm working hard. I'm hustling, trying to get some money. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing construction with my dad and my granddad, and a teacher called me. And she said, congratulations. I'm like, okay. Like, congratulations for what? And she was like, they didn't tell you were the valedictorian. I'm like, there can't be no way I was the valedictorian. I'm not the person that reads books. I'm not the person that does all this nerdy stuff that people think. I was playing sports and just trying to do the best that I could in class. You know what I'm saying? Now, I would sit in front of the class so I could focus, but I wasn't the nerdy type that people think. I was just an athlete. I was a student athlete, pretty much, just doing the best that I could. So she called. She like, hey, you valedictorian. And I'm like, Dad, Granddad, I'm valedictorian. Hold on.
I did it.
And I'm like, hold on. How many students? She was like, it's 351.
Damn.
And I'm thinking to myself, I know there are people that are much smarter than me. I know there are people that have higher ACT scores than me. But what allowed me to be valedictorian was my work ethic. Like, work ethic was everything. I wasn't the type to, kiss ass to my professors, but I was the type to just do my best or write a 3-4 page paper instead of a 1-page paper.
Yeah.
Because I knew that hard work would get me farther than anything.
You setting yourself apart.
Yeah, most definitely. So, man, what I like to tell people is don't be complacent. Like, don't be too comfortable. So here I am with a 4.2 GPA, right? But I didn't prepare myself for college because I didn't study for the ACT or SAT. Like, people got to understand when you're taking AP classes and advanced classes, you forget all of the old curriculum. Like, you forget the formulas, and I'm doing college work, so I'm not even really studying the formulas and stuff that's going to be on the ACT, SAT. So we get to taking the test, and I'm making 19s and 20s, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, I got a 4.2 GPA, but I can't get any scholarship money. And that's when I'm like, bro, like, you got to, like, change your mindset. Like, even though I had the mindset, I was too comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So eventually what happened was I'm getting accepted into all these colleges, Alabama, Clemson. I was getting letters from Harvard. Any school I applied for, I was getting into, but I felt like it was disrespectful because a lot of colleges were saying, you're going to have to take remedial classes. I'm like, remedial who? Do you not know who I am? Or you're going to have to, take the basic classes. Let's see if you can pass this class, and then we'll let you come on our main campus.
Oh, I understand.
So I'm like, hold on, y'all must not know who I am. So that really, like, shifted my mindset. But I'm glad that happened because I was able to go to the University of South Alabama, which is a PWI. And I'm glad I went to the PWI because it was a culture shock. When I got to Mobile, I'm thinking, oh, like, it's gonna be country. I'm not gonna have no support. No, it was dope. It was amazing. I had plenty of friends that I could network with. I learned how to be a man, and I'm so glad that I moved 5 hours away because it allowed me to become a man myself.
Facts.
I didn't have people clutching on me, and I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters. So I felt like I didn't have to have all this weight on my shoulders. You know, like, I'm the one that's doing the most successful things in my family.
You the youngest?
Technically, so I want to break down my siblings. So I have a stepbrother and a stepsister.
Gotcha.
And then I have a 2 younger brothers and then an older sister.
Yeah, okay, I understand.
So I'm kind of like in the middle. Yeah, but I'm glad that I moved away because it helped me become a man and really just figure out how to survive on my own. Like, my parents, they weren't sending me money to college. They weren't doing none of that. You know, one time I called my dad like, Dad, I'm struggling. I need some money. He was like, I ain't got it for you. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of broke down in tears because I'm like, you my dad. Like, you supposed to have my back. Dad. But he was like, man, you a man. You got to figure it out. And not in a bad way, but he was just teaching me a lesson.
It'll push you, though, to do the right thing. He was telling you right.
Correct. Yeah. So I'm like, bro, look, let me go ahead and get a job. Let me go ahead and do what I got to do. And then that eventually led me on to just being a hustler, being an entrepreneur, you know, and just trying to build a name for myself. Like, at the end of the day, there's going to be a day where I die and perish. And there's going to be somebody that read my eulogy. Of course, people are going to shed tears and they might laugh a little bit because I'm kind of funny. But at my funeral, they're going to have words that describe me. And I always wanted people to say, this guy's a hard worker. He's God-fearing. He takes care of his family. And they can never tie my name with being piss poor. So that's what I want to be remembered by. I tell people all the time, man, go be legendary. Like, go build your own legacy because when you leave this earth, that's it. Like, I'm about to get ready to have a son in a couple of days.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Congratulations.
But I want my son to be able to hear stories about his dad long after I'm gone. That motivates him to be better than me. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So
that's
hopefully that's a little spill.
That was you gave exactly what I wanted because it's just showing like you can come from different walks of life, different situations, but still end up A-OK, right? Like you say people was doubting you here and there, but you use, and I can't remember the saying, but just using that negativity as fuel to your fire. Because sometimes people say that's bad to do because it's kind of, I don't want to say envious, but it's like, oh, just because they hate and I don't want to do X, Y, and Z. But sometimes it's like, you really got to prove to people I'm not either what you perceive me to be, or you got to prove to yourself sometimes like, bro, let's get this thing going. So you actually had that drive to, one, have a mindset shift to get into the right area in your life and actually pursue it and be dedicated and disciplined in doing it. Because a lot, like when you say you got the valedictorian and 4.2, like total opposite story here. I was just trying, it's just the transparency. I was trying my best just to get up out of there, but it's just like, when people see me nowadays from who I used to talk to, I was on the little brother, the short dude, smallest kid, but now it's like you get the, hey, bit, bro, from older folks, you get the, bro, you did it, but it's like back then, it either never was seen, but I just had to still take it upon myself to, one, grow up at a young age because struggles at home and just be a man and knowing it's up to you to make your future. Of course, God has what he has planned for you, but us on this physical, we got our part to play as well. So, but you got to lock in. You got to do what you got to do. You got to be responsible for your outcome. And if not, you can't be mad at nobody else but you. So flowers to you for being responsible and making your future, even though you still got more to go, what it is today. So, but having said that, right, what was that initial, not initial, but I guess that ending turning point for you to say, you know what, and talking about in adulthood, so where what I'm doing now, because right now, you probably have either more freedom, more mindset, just more to do and in control than what you did probably when you first started your career. So let's talk about like your first career you got into and how did that next mindset switch happen to where, you know what, I've accomplished X, Y, and Z in college getting in here, but still where I'm at now, this ain't it for me. So go back to there and give us some insight on that.
So I'm gonna actually tell you in college, right? So this is very important. In college, I wanted to be a physical therapist. Like I wanted to be a doctor. But I let somebody tell me what I couldn't do, and I promised that I wouldn't let that happen again. So this is crazy. I had a 3.8 GPA, and I was taking it serious because you got to think about it. I'm the valedictorian, but I'm paying for school. Like my parents are paying for school. Like the parent plus loan, this stuff is expensive, and it was kind of embarrassing because it's like, how does a valedictorian not have a full scholarship?
Full ride to any school.
Correct. So my goal was to be able to make the highest GPA so that I can transfer back home and try to get like a Hope Scholarship in Georgia. That was my goal. But I went to South Alabama in that first year. I'm like, bro, I love this campus. Like, they got the beach. It's near New Orleans. You know how New Orleans is.
Right,
you know what I'm
saying? Mardi Gras, the food, the vibes.
Correct. So I met with the PT advisor, and he was like, hey, I'm sorry to tell you, but we only accept 40 students out of 400. Your 3.8 is not good enough for our South Alabama program. Remind you, I'm green to like how programs work. So I'm thinking, oh, there's no other program I can get into. I'm not thinking about Alabama State or any of these other schools. Nobody just never taught me and stuff like that. So long story short, I switched my major to exercise science. And I'm glad I did this because for those who don't know, I'm a brother of Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
You just had some going later. Okay, man.
Shouts out to the brothers, man. But they helped me really find that identity. And I'm glad they did because it allowed me to become an entrepreneur and get into that whole entrepreneurship stage. Like, so long story short, I became a trainer and I switched my major to exercise science, and I was all locked in. So in college, I called myself Zell Go Fit, and my line brother came up with the name because, of course, Zell nickname. I'm always on the go. I never stop, and I was fit.
LB.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So shout out to LB. But it's important for you to be inspired by somebody else, because I was inspired by somebody else. So my alpha brother, which I had never met before, he had a clothing brand. And I'm like, if he can make T-shirts, I can make T-shirts at my campus, and I can sell these T-shirts. Now, he was playing with it, but I was serious. I'm like, if I could put my logo on a shirt, people are going to buy this shirt because of who I am and how I market it. So I bought my heat press machine with the refund check from college. You know, when you get the refund check,
man,
you get the scat pack, you know, Hellcat, all that. You know what I'm saying? You go to the mall. But I'm like, bro, let me. I was like, ooh, I want some new clothes. I want some new, you know what I'm saying? But I decided to invest into the T-shirt business in college. So I bought the screen printer, and I just went on YouTube and learned everything I could about screen printing. I mean, not screen printing, but just pressing shirts.
I was about to say, you came in.
No. Just pressing shirts. Just pressing shirts. So my goal was to be able to get the profit margins down. And throughout this time of doing exercise science, I was trying to be a walk-on at South Alabama. And this is my strategy, right? So in order to get on the team, you have to be noticed by somebody. And I knew that in order for me to get noticed by the coaches, I had to work somewhere in the building. So I decided to become an equipment manager. Now you might ask, why equipment manager? I'm able to run routes. I'm able to do stuff after practice. I'm able to show my work ethic and potentially get a tryout. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I did. But this is the play, right? And I got in trouble for it. Well, not in trouble for it, but what I was doing was I would go to the field house after close hours, and I would press my shirts. This is before I even got the heat press machine, right? So I would press all of my shirts. I would document the journey.
Okay, that's where they were pressing the jerseys and stuff.
Yes. So I would press all my shirts. I was documenting the journey, and I was transferring a lot of people on campus. So people were just buying the shirts. They're like, bro, you hustling, you working hard, like. And eventually the guy who, I'm not going to say his name, but he found out I was pressing and he wanted a percentage. And I'm like, dang, this is crazy. I done gave you almost 2 years of being an equipment manager and you want a percentage. I'm going to take this somewhere else. So that forced me to buy the heat press machine. And that really ramped up my entrepreneur mindset. From there, every conversation was, hey, man, like, how can I help you with your goals? Don't worry about your end goals. Let's just start with the beginning. Let's start with your nutrition. Let's start with like your mindset. And let's get you on a plan. Because without a plan, you won't be successful with anything. So that's what I did. And I was just going through the whole clothing brand in college. All that stuff was great. But eventually COVID, this is why COVID, I love COVID, right? Boy. I love COVID. Why? Because throughout this whole time of becoming an adult, graduating from college, you know, having my own fitness ideas and fitness journeys and fitness aspirations, I was content. I didn't believe or I didn't see anything outside of being kind of self-employed or my own entrepreneur, but COVID forced me into getting an actual 9-to-5 job. And in college, I had my jobs, but I didn't want to work for anybody. So long story short, man, COVID came, all the gyms closed. I lose all my clients. They texted me like, I can't afford to pay you right now. And I'm like, what you mean? Your payment due tomorrow. Like, I'm trying to figure out adulthood.
You got stuff to pay for.
Yeah. I got a girlfriend at the time, which is my wife now. She want to do this and do that. But I just said to myself, bro, let me try something out. Let me figure it out. And I didn't want to clock in. So I'm like, let me do Uber and Lyft. Let me do Amazon Flex in the morning. And then when that's done, I'm going to switch the Lyft app on and I'm going to do Lyft. So that's what I did during the whole pandemic. And then I asked myself, could you do this for another 5 years? And I literally quit that day. I'm like, man, I not only am I running out the miles on my car, but I can't see myself doing this for another 5 years. I need more money. So I went into warehousing. Warehousing was perfect for me. And you asked me why. It allowed me to study. It allowed me to watch podcasts. It allowed me to listen to audiobooks. It allowed me to just shift my whole mindset. So I'm driving backwards, right? I'm driving backwards. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking in this box to my right because we can have a box on our forklift.
That for your personal belongings or stuff like that? Yeah.
Personal belongings, correct. But I always prop my phone up in the box. And I prop it behind me so that, you know, when you look it back, you can look in the box. Yeah. That's how it was every single day. So I put in my AirPod. I would listen to the Social Proof podcast. And from there, I'm like, oh, this is game over. Mm-hmm. So throughout this time of working 3 years in warehousing, I'm trying to figure out, what do I want to do? I don't want to go into fitness anymore because I felt like if I had my money tied up from somebody else, then it's not dependable. Facts. Of course, it's a lucrative business, but I didn't want that feeling of being dead broke. Like, imagine you telling your wife, like, I don't have any money, I can't be the provider. Mm-hmm. So I really had to just get a 9-to-5, get guaranteed money, and I paid my bills first. That's important, but I used all of my overtime money and invested it into my business. And that's what I want to tell people. Take the money that you have, whatever your check is, pay your bills first, always. Mm-hmm. Take care of your responsibilities, invest some money, and then take whatever money, play money, and put it into a business. And that's what I did.
That's great advice. Not to cut you off, but I hope y'all listening to what he just said. Rewind this back real quick, and that was a big jam of what he said, so make sure y'all take note. My bad, man. That was a good info.
Invest your money. Like, if you look at my closet right now, I bought this outfit for this podcast. You know, I was just playing. But if you look at my closet right now, you will see that I haven't bought clothes for myself since last year. Mm-hmm. My wife the one buying me clothes. You might say, "Man, this man tripping."
No, but I agree. I know how it is. Yeah. Not to cut you off, but I'm the same way as far as like when it comes to responsibilities and knowing what I have to do. It's kind of hard for me to do all the extra stuff because I consciously know where you setting yourself back. Of course, here and there you may slip up something like, okay, I really may want this or that, but on the usual, I'm the same. But I don't shop like that. Yeah, correct. It's how many pairs of jeans do I need that's either the same color or the same wires? Like if I got some fresh tops or whatnot, this and that. My mind is to be able to do this not because I need to, but because I want to. And to help that out is, bro, cut back on the spending, this and that. And again, if you got somebody who love you, they looking out. So it's just a plus, man. Yeah, so I know where you coming from.
Most definitely. And it sucks sometimes. Yeah. But I understand investing my money into my business and it's always going to come back. Yeah, you might take a couple L's with your investments, but if you learn stuff, like I learned Facebook ads, I'm like, let me learn ads. If I learn how to run ads, if I invest this money, it'll come back. And it came back with the clothing brand.
So that was your initial investment, like not even in stocks. It was just with learning the Facebook ads and investing in marketing like that.
Correct. So what I did with the clothing brand is I was doing the clothing brand, which is doing pretty good. I was doing Lyft and Uber and Amazon Flex because I didn't want to do a normal 9-to-5. But I realized that I needed more money and consistent money. So I went into warehousing. I was still working on the clothing brand. It was a fitness clothing brand, by the way. It's all in the same niche, but I learned Facebook ads because I realized that in order for me, a person that doesn't have a big influence, I have to reach other people that don't know me. Facts. So this is my play, right? What I would do is I would say, hey, how you doing, man? You doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I see you're like working on your fitness journey, man. Go check out our Instagram page, right? I'll be like, hey, bro, you don't have to follow us. Don't worry about giving us a follow. But just like our first 3 posts, as soon as they like that first 3 posts, I'm going home, I'm setting up a retarget ad. And I'm targeting all the people that visited my Instagram account or that visited my Shopify account within the past 30 days. I'm hitting them with a retarget ad where it's like, it's either an introduction to the brand or it's a, like, I can't turn this down type of sale. So our shirts, we were selling it for $24.99 and I would put it on sale for $9.99. But I would have people put in their phone number and email, and we would nurture them through our text. So that data, was boy. All because I just had somebody like my Instagram post. So simple stuff like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? But what's your question again? I want to make sure
I was just saying just to tell us as far as how that transition of the mindset from now when you was at the warehouse to I'm going full-time entrepreneurship, how you kind of broke away from that. Okay, good. So let me tell you exactly what happened. So I'm in warehousing, and
I bought a camera to document my fitness journey, make fitness content. This when fitness was booming on Instagram. Everybody was content creators. So I bought me a Sony 6400. And I started recording myself in Mecca Day. She's the owner of the Loft Athletic Club, but she had a very successful, like it's a fat burning / booty building class. So she had a successful gym, and we wanted to collaborate with her and EJ. They're a couple, right? They're very successful in the fitness industry. But I pretty much asked them, could I film them and get paid? She was like, not right now, just do an internship. So I interned for a little bit, got familiar with the camera, and I shot one video that did really good. And now I got Nehemiah Davis hitting me up. I got Alex Good Energy hitting me up. They're like, hey, I want you to shoot a video for me. In my head, I'm like, bro, I don't have the money. The only thing I can afford right now is this camera. Yeah. Like, I don't have the money to go out and get more gear. I had dumped all of my money into inventory. Like, because I was because I was so locked into building that space. But I realized that I had an opportunity to like make this a business. So I went to Best Buy. I maxed out my car. I got a gimbal, the basic stuff, a gimbal, your SD cards, and I just figured it out. I hit up Neo because I was supposed to shoot Neo like the next week, and he was like, "Hey, bro, I tore something in my knee playing basketball, so I'm gonna have to cancel like the gig." And I'm like, bro, how am I supposed to make my money back? Like, you know what I'm saying? How am I supposed to make my money back? So my mindset from there was to make my money back, and I'm glad that happened because it showed me that I could not only make money from making content, but I could save more money. You know, when you have a clothing brand, you have to re-up. You just re-up all the time. Yes. But when you're creating content, you only got to buy the camera once. You only got to buy the gimbal once. Everything requires time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I knew that I can make more money.
Can't beat it, though.
Yeah, most definitely. I knew that I can make more money doing content. So this is what shifted my mind. This is how I got to where I am today. So I'm on the forklift, still working overtime. Remind you, I've been doing this for 3 years.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know it was 3 years at this point.
3 years, man. 3 long years. I'm working.
Yeah,
I'm working overtime. Overtime is important because I'm trying to get the money to build my business. I hit up Jason Lobdell. And for those who don't know, man, Jason Lobdell is the owner, like co-owner of the Loft Athletic Club. It's one of the top gyms in Atlanta. So I had built a connection with him from Mecca and EJ and just being at the Loft. And I said, hey, Jason, I'm on the forklift. I'm like, hey, Jason, you have a conference coming up. He's a part of the Circle of CEOs. He had a conference coming up. I'm like, I know you might not be able to buy me a ticket, but can I just film you? Can I do a recap of you, make you look lit? Can I just film you? You get me in the door. He was like, I got you. I mean, I can't promise you that you're going to get in, but I got you. So I pull up with my camera. The camera done got me in so many rooms that I couldn't even imagine. So he get me in. I do my recap. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, Social Proof Podcast is here. Like, I'm going to network with Dave.
Mission.
Yeah. And it's crazy because I was checking out the whole event, and I didn't even know they was there, but I bent the left, and I seen the table. And I'm like, bro, I've been watching Dave and Donnie this whole entire COVID stretch. This is my opportunity to let them know that, like, let me come work for you. Let me show you that I can be an asset to your team. Because they were already winning. But what I want to tell people is that you have to be an asset instead of a liability. Be an asset to people that are already winning, and you're going to get paid. You're going to be of value, and you might not have to worry about job security. So that's exactly what I did. Now, everything goes full circle, and this is why I say God is amazing. Yes, I pull up to the table, and the line is long. I was like, man, am I at Six Flags? The line is long to meet David and Donnie. And I'm not one of those fan people, you know what I'm saying? I'm still here to do a job. Yeah. I'm still recording Jason. But I see a brother, his name is Ty Dixon. And guess what he is?
Right next to them?
Yeah, he's an alpha.
Oh, you said what he is?
Guess what he is? He's an alpha.
Oh, man, now he a
so
bro.
I'm like, look at God. I'm like, look at God. So, you know what I'm saying? We greet each other. I'm telling him what I do. And he was like, bro, David is looking for a full-time videographer. And in my mind, I'm like, I've been working warehousing for 3 years. This is perfect. I can go into content creation full-time. So this is crazy, right? And this is why I'm glad, you know, it worked out how it worked out. So he was like, hey, man, you scratch my back, I scratch your back. Obviously,
yeah.
Obviously, I know Dave, and you want to connect with him. You pull up to the studio on Friday, where I got to whiten his teeth because he had a teeth whitening business. He was promoting his business, and he was like, "You film it, you give me the content, and I'll connect you with Dave, and from there you can do your thing." You know what I'm saying? So I'm one of them employees that never call off. I don't even really use my PTO because I don't like to give away money. Remind you, I'm trying to build a business. I need as much money as I can to run Facebook ads, to invest it back into my clothing brand. So I'm not the type of person to call off. I'm going to be there 25/7 if I got to.
Understood,
to take care of your responsibilities, right? So I pull up, called out on Friday. You know, I'm struggling because I don't call out. But I pull up, and he forgets the most important thing, which is the molder, to keep the mouth open.
Man.
So I'm like, bro, come on, man.
Called out of work,
What's going on? What's going on? Like, why is this happening? Like, this might be a person that can change my life. And the most important key to that thing happening is the molder that goes in David's mouth to keep his mouth open. So I'm like, bro, I don't care what we got to do. We got to figure something out. So we outside plotting. We hitting up people in Tucker because the spot is in Chamblee, Tucker. We trying to find people who can sell us the molder to go into David Shands' mouth in order to do the job. I'm like, bro, you send me the address. I will go get whatever molder you need. I will pay whatever. So we find somebody. She's a very nice lady. I can't remember her name, but she had like a office behind her mom's house. It was like a shed, but it was built like a office. It was very nice. So I get in there, I pay her, I jet back to the studio. Dave's like, damn, y'all taking forever. You know what I'm saying? I can't do it today, but what's your name? I'm like, hey, I'm Ronzell, man. Nice to meet you. In my mindset, I know that you only got 5 seconds to impress this person. I knew that he knew Jason Lobdell because they're a part of the Circle of CEOs. So I had the phone loaded in my pocket, the video of the recap that I did of Jason in my pocket. So I pull it out. I'm like, hey, this is the video that I did of Jason Lobdell. My work is good. Let me come work from you. He was like, what do you want to get paid? I'm like, I want to get paid either what. I was getting paid at the forklift job, which is like $4,000 a month. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, hold on. I don't know who you are. You know what I'm saying? But what you can do is you can stick around. You know what I'm saying? Take my number. So we exchanged numbers. And this is why I say God is good, because Dave is going to give you tests. He's going to see if you got good work ethic. So I'm still doing my normal stuff. I'm interning with David at the time. I would do free workshops, or I would follow him to conferences and film it. So he calls me one day, and I'm up at like 1 o'clock in the morning, still at the forklift job, you know, working on my content creation career, investing in that stuff. And he calls me. He's like, hey, man, I just wanted to see where you really up, because sleep is for suckers. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh,
shameless
okay.
plug in the test.
Okay, yeah. So I'm like, okay. He was like, people who say they work, they don't sleep, and they be up all night. So I really wanted to see where you really put in the work. But that's cool. He was like, that's all I wanted to say. Click. I go run into my wife. Hey.
And
Mr. David Shands called. You know what I'm saying? This is a guy I was watching on the forklift, inspiring me to like build my business, because I was learning gems from other people like Corey Avenger, Justin Phillips, because they had built
all them, man. They're doing great things.
They are, because they had built a successful clothing brand. So I was taking those gems and applying those gems directly to my clothing brand once I got off. So I had became a fan of the show. So long story short, I'm still at my forklift job, and he calls me one day on my lunch break. He says, hey, man, if you're ready to make that jump, make that jump. I'm like, say no more. I mean, I was one of those employees that was not supposed to be there. Like, it was people there, and they were like, hey, bro, like, what are you doing here? I got 3 felonies. You got a college degree. Yeah. Like, why are you here? I'm like, bro, this guy's playing.
Considered to be overqualified for the position. Correct. Like you say, God will put you where you need to be,
He did. And I'm glad he put me there, because every single day that I got there, I was working overnight. And when Dave said intern, I switched from overnight to the morning shift, because I knew in order to do an internship, he was going to need me for a certain amount of time throughout the day. He was going to need me for these hours. So I made that sacrifice, not only for my family, but to be able to not miss those opportunities. So I literally switched my whole schedule because I'm like, bro, what do you got to lose?
Yeah.
Like, so long story short, man, he calls me on my lunch break and he says, hey, if you ready to make that jump, make that jump. I literally called the HR person at job, on the job, on my lunch break. I said, hey, Miss Melissa. And she already knew what time it was. She was like, it's that time, huh? I said, yes, it's that time. I said, don't be upset with me. I will put in my 2-week notice, but I'm going to miss the opportunity for my life notice. So I literally quit that day, and I started at the Social Proof Network the next day.
Dang, that's crazy.
And from there, it was just coming in. I didn't know anything about podcasting. I didn't know how to set up a mic. I was still learning about like content creation, how to work the camera. You needed an ND filter on the lens. Like I was still learning this stuff. I was on YouTube every day just trying to learn, trying to buy the courses to figure out how to speed up the process. But what I realized is that I would have never got there if I didn't have it in my mind.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I believed in myself. I had faith. And I didn't let, I know this time tell me that I couldn't do it. Like Jason, he said, hey, you could pull up, but you might not get in. I'm going to get in. And I'm going to get in. I'm going to be an asset. I had a strategic plan. And from there, the rest was history. Now, I'm the producer for the Social Proof Network. I'm also a full-time content creator, which I can do both at the same time. So I can take my outside work. I can charge whatever packages I want, real estate. I can do pretty much any niche that I want to do, as long as I take care of what I'm supposed to do at Social Proof. So technically, I'm not self-employed. I'm still an entrepreneur. I'm still like a 9-to-5 employee. Yeah, technically.
But that's the freedom you have on what you're doing is still. It's like whether you're working for Dave or not, right there. One of the environments you in, and just I guess the biggest thing outside of the rooms you're in, but just doing what you know you want to do.
Correct. That's key.
Whether it's from somebody else or not, that's freedom to me. From not usual 9-to-5s is like, bro, I'm here because I have to be, not because I want to be. Unless you do have a job, you went to school for law school or something, they ain't got that. But like for what you saying, that freedom and doing what you want, that was everything, man.
You know what's the crazy part?
Whatever.
The whole time I'm in warehousing, I'm documenting the journey.
We was just talking about that thing yesterday about not documenting that. This the beginning of your stuff, man.
Remind you, it's all about mindset. I'm listening to Justin Phillips. He's saying, bro, like I meditate every day. I sleep on the floor sometimes because I don't want to get too comfortable. But I'm listening to Dante Akram at the time. He was a big inspiration. Yeah, Ted's dope, man. He taught me how to run ads through his course. But I'm the type of guy. I'm like. If I learn how to run ads, I'm gonna learn how to run ads. So little stuff like that, like the mindset, is what really helped. But I documented the journey, and I'm in the warehouse, right? And I'm taking these selfies, taking these photos. Why? Because in my mind, I knew that I wasn't gonna be at this place forever. You gotta think about it. It's old heads in these places, like 65. They saying, bro, I'm about to hit retirement in 2 years. And I'm thinking to myself, bro, I don't even want to stay here for another 2 days.
2 days.
So how could you be here for 25 plus years? Like it kind of felt like prison. And that's crazy to compare it to that, but it felt like prison.
Somewhere you didn't want to be.
Because it's somewhere that I don't want to be. I have to be there. And I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get out of it. So I was unhappy. I was unhappy. So I just documented the journey. And I started just pushing my content creation story.
So with that real quick, right? So you transitioned from the warehouse into now the day you quit, next day you're working with Dave and the Social Proof team. And you were saying as far as you were still kind of learning the camera and stuff like that. So because how, in a sense of green you were in, how did you maintain with all the, I can only imagine at that time, they was already popping with the pace they was moving. How did you kind of maintain and keep up with, well, I know how to use this, but I really don't, but I got to get the job no matter what. So how was that process is just adapting to that new environment and adapting to your new job duties, but not knowing everything you need to know about your equipment? Man,
you just got to get in there and just figure it out. Shout out to my guy, Reese. He's
Shout out to Reese.
Yeah, he's another videographer / content creator at the studio, but I knew that if I didn't know how to do it, I was going to figure out how to do it. and I don't call this crazy, but I didn't want to ask questions because I didn't want to feel like I was inexperienced.
Yeah.
So I would go home and look up everything that I need to look up, or I would try to stay a little later, or do this and do that. You know what I'm saying? Like when I first started, I didn't know how to like jack up the tripod. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, this is embarrassing because I'm going from gimbal work.
Yeah.
Not really having to set up a tripod and all that stuff.
Running gun type movement.
Correct. I was running gun.
Yeah.
Everything running gun. Everything recaps. I was really good at recap videos, lifestyle content. We don't need tripods in that space. So, but long story short, what I like about Social Proof is that not only are you getting the mentorship from David and Donnie as well, because she's a really good business coach, but they're going to allow you to fail in order to get better. So I start January, and 3 months later, David's saying, "Hey, I want you to produce the Growing Pains podcast." I'm like, "What you mean? Hold on,
moving. What?
I want to produce a show. You're like they're your age group, you know, Gen Z, millennial." And from there, it was like all hands off. Like, let's not hold your hand. You be a creator. You know, Dave's favorite line, which I kind of hate sometimes, but he always tells us, be creative. He don't really micromanage like that. I mean, I understand you want your business to grow, but he always tells us to be creative. You know what I'm saying? So he gives us the space to create whatever we want to create, as long as we get the job done. So for those who don't know, I'm a salary employee, if that makes sense. Like, even though I got a certain amount of time that I have to be there, there's still days and nights where I'm there for 12 to 18 hours because I understand that I have to get the job done. If I don't get the job done, I could be replaced.
Easily.
And I don't want to be replaced. I want to be able to be an asset to where he has to pay me 6 figures. You know what I'm saying? And that's the mindset. So going into that, though, I realized, like, this guy is a hard worker. And in order for me to be a millionaire, I have to surround myself around not only hardworking individuals, but people that can get you to become a millionaire. He's interviewing people that have nine figure. I didn't even know nine.
I understand what you're saying. Like, you're not used to hearing
exits.
them after that number before the word finish, like 6, the 7,
the 8,
your little 8,
and like the
9.
nine figure exits.
Yeah,
like, and people just coming in and out. And we're interviewing Peaky Cole. We're interviewing Derek Haynes. We're interviewing all these successful entrepreneurs. And it's like, wow, it's so much bigger than what we understand. Like, a lot of people don't understand. I'm the guy that's following David Shands around in these meetings, in these big corporate meetings, in these big business meetings. I'm hearing the gems. I'm hearing how he strategically uses his words in order to close deals. Like, I'm behind those closed doors, even though I might not be able to talk about some of the stuff. I'm still able to soak it in.
Great though. Yeah,
I'm still able to soak it in, and I like that because every single day it feels like I'm getting mentored. You know what I'm saying? Even though I might not want to hear it, like, not only are you getting mentored, but you're surrounded around a whole bunch of people that you want to be like, that you're inspired to be like. You're doing something that you love, and you're being coached for free. Most of these masterminds out here, they cost $20,000.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Upwards.
I'm getting coached by David Shands and Donnie Wiggins. And I can't sleep on Donnie Wiggins, man. She's really good at what she does, but she's not gonna sugarcoat it.
She's phenomenal. I listen to her on the Full Transparency and also on Social Proof, but I've learned, I can say from both of them a lot. Again, with you, like Donnie's podcast, David, Shopify Masters, Guy Raz, Gary V, and it's a couple more, but those, like, literally every day, you can ask, bro, when I'm in the car, you don't hear music in my car. You either gonna hear David, Donnie, Shopify, Guy Raz. I might throw on a Brilliant Idiots for some entertainment or something like that, but other than that, bro, it's those podcasts. It's like, in my mind, like how you say using those rooms, right? You learning the lingo.
Correct.
You learning the proper way to set this up, to negotiate this, negotiate that, and knowing what you want to do, knowing what I want to do. We'll be a fool to use our time any other way. Correct. So why not tune in? But just to bounce off of that, now those Donnie and Dave, those are good people to listen to as far as the business. But sorry to cut you off.
Oh, no, you good, man. You good. No, but I've enjoyed it so far. It's a lot of long nights. It's a lot of hard work. Like, for example, we produce 4 shows a week. That's not including Growing Pains. I still have Growing Pains. So I still got to manage Growing Pains, make sure that we shoot, it gets uploaded, The thumbnail is taken care of. All that stuff is taken care of. I still got a wife at home. I'm about to have a kid. And you got David Shands, who not only is a busy entrepreneur, he travels a lot, but you're producing 4 shows consistently a week. So we work. We flip a lot of rooms, me and Reese. And Reese is my teammate. Like, we flip a lot of rooms, we work together, but at the end of the day, the goal is to get it done.
You got to get it done. But
Correct.
I want you to continue what you're talking about, but it's more specifically, what is it like in the life of a podcast producer? Like the ins and outs, the responsibilities, what you got to do. Like, just go into more depth. Somebody may want to be a audio producer or video producer or specifically podcast. But so what is that day-to-day like from sunrise to get in, set up, to break down, all the way down to the IG clips? Is this being uploaded?
So you want the gym?
Yeah,
I got
so
you.
what's that?
I got you. I'm about to get to you.
Let them have it,
so
man.
I'm going to give you the whole breakdown. I like to start a setup for a podcast an hour early. I always believe in being on time. Dave's all about being on time, and that goes hand in hand. So get there on time. No excuse. You know Atlanta is very busy.
Yep.
So leave early if it's very busy and get there. So I like to set up an hour early. I like to make sure that I check all of my SOPs. So that's making sure that my HDMI is plugged in, my cameras are set, my white balance is set, my aperture, all the settings are pretty much the same. I also like to make sure that my co-hosts are good. Like we tend to have a meeting before we actually press record. So we'll talk about the pros and cons, what we can fix, what the topic is. We'll also talk about ways in which we can make it $1 million business. And that's something that Dave wants us to think about. How can we make it $1 million business? You know what I'm saying? So on the producer side, a lot of people ask, what is that? And I tend to wear a lot of hats. I do the audio. I do the setup and breakdown. And for a long time, I was actually editing after shooting everything. So what we like to do is we like to pick a day in which we drop. And we drop every Friday at 5 p.m. We always try to batch episodes, at least 2 episodes every time that we shoot. That way you don't have to necessarily meet every week.
Yeah.
Okay, now, we try to do 3 and 4, but you tend to get fatigued after 2. So we found our sweet spot to be 2. So every Monday or Tuesday, we'll shoot 2 episodes. And we're actually going to try a new strategy where the beginning of the month, we shoot on Monday and Tuesday, and we shoot 4 episodes for the entire month. Because you got to think about it. Trey, Jada, and Yanni, they're also entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
They're very busy entrepreneurs, and that's their livelihood. So you got to figure out how to plan accordingly to your co-host, as well as with the producer and the schedule of the clubhouse. So, so let's get into the actual breakdown of the podcast and some of the things that we use. I'm going to give some gems for anybody that wants
tune in. I can sit back and this about to be educational.
For anybody that wants to produce a podcast,
go ahead,
man,
give it to them, man.
The most important tip, and I'm going to look into the camera, the most important tip is not the fancy equipment, the fancy lights, any of that stuff. The most important thing with starting a podcast is actually just start it. That's it. Like, you don't need to worry about getting all the great equipment. Yes, that does help make a good show, but you need to think about what show you're going to do, what type of idea is going to be. Is it going to be an entrepreneurship podcast, a relationship podcast? Like, you got to figure that out. You got to also have a strategic plan on how you're going to release it. Are you going to do it clips? Are you going to release it on YouTube? We had a mastermind in these 2 girls. They're doing a podcast, audio only, and a podcast is an audio experience. Don't people get that confused?
Yeah,
a podcast is an audio experience.
Yeah,
correct. And when you add visuals, you can put it on YouTube and monetize that way. Okay, but these 2 girls, they made well over like $500,000, right? Just off audio.
I was about to say just off audio,
and they're in the true crime space. So. Like,
that's one of the top podcast categories in it, or is the top, right?
I think it might be the top.
Yeah,
true crime. Yep. So little stuff like that is just get started. We don't even have to see your face. Just start a podcast. And what we do is we put our audio on Red Circle. Now, there are other platforms that you can use, but we like Red Circle because they pay money eventually when you get enough listeners and downloads. It's also very easy for you to like distribute your audio on all platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcast. It does it simultaneously. So
Dave got me on that. I can't even lie. I was
Red
at
Circle
Buzzsprout.
Oh yeah, that's the other one now.
Yeah.
Red Circle.
Red Circle.
Red Circle get you right. All right. So What else? Producing a podcast, you need to figure out how is it going to make your job easier. So when you think about getting into it, the only thing you need is, I recommend 3 camera angles. You need the ISO file. So if you do a guest interview, you need 2 ISO files in the middle shot. Now with Dave, he might want 8 cameras. You don't need all of that, okay? You just need technically 1, but I always recommend 3, okay? 2 ISO files in the middle file. Audio. We record our audio through a Rodecaster Pro. Now, a lot of people go different routes with their audio. A lot of people can use a Zoom. We have Zoom H6s that we use, but we use a Rodecaster Pro. And I honestly want to say, when you get enough money to afford good equipment, make sure that you invest in quality equipment.
Facts.
So at the clubhouse, we have Shure SM7Bs. These are podcast mics. They're really good. But Dave actually lost money, and I haven't told him this yet, but he lost money.
Sorry, Dave.
Because he bought the SM7, the Shure SM7B. But he also had to buy cloud lifters.
Same.
Now, cloud lifters, they enhance your audio. They make you sound like Drake, okay? All right. But if he would have bought the model above that, he would have saved $100 without being able to buy the cloud lifter. So just little stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to buy in good quality stuff when you can afford it. But the message is to use what you have until you can afford that. That makes sense?
Fact, no, it all makes sense. Because it's even, just to jump in real quick, like, the stuff he's recommending, a lot of it is where I started at. I started out with a Zoom. It's actually a H5. Then upgraded to 8.6 because I did some cold emails. They sent it to me for free. Okay, so, that's cool. The 8.6 was a good way to start. I had this one mic, but luckily, because I was doing since college, like videography work, I already had it. It was a Nikon D5500.
Okay,
I had just that one, and like I said, I just jumped out there. But everything you were saying, there are great ways to get your feet wet, and it's just crazy to know, like you said, that the 2 females who made that had $500,000 or whatever, off of just audio.
Oh, just 6 figures, 6 figures.
That says a lot. Like, one is true to the platform and to the space of what a podcast was, but just telling people, they always want to say, I gotta have the camera, I gotta have it. Like, yes, it's good support, but just hearing that is to turn somebody to a believer to where just speak use your voice. Just get it out, man.
Just get it out there.
More gems.
Oh yeah, most definitely. No, I'm trying to. You ask me whatever you want. I'm gonna give you all the game without gatekeeping.
Yeah, but on one thing though, then this is personal for me. So when you because I have my audio, I record through the Rodecaster Pro. Okay, but I have it linked to my A10 Mini. So the audio was technically I used the audio from the A10 Mini. Okay, yeah. So do you do that, or what do you recommend? I won't going to start doing backup files just from the Rodecaster, but the A10 was just, it's all going through there. But the issue I have, I only get that one audio track. I don't get mic 1 and mic 2.
So on your Rodecaster, you should be able to punch in the setting to where it gives you like stereo files instead of a mono file. So for those who don't know, a stereo file is separate, or you can think of it as left and right channel. All right. So if you play a stereo file in the car, you're going to hear it on the left side of the car and not the right. Whereas a mono, everything's together. So you probably just have to change something in your Rodecaster Pro settings, but we run our audio separately, okay, through the Rodecaster. And another gem, which I can give you, and you might not even have to use a Rodecaster Pro. We use FX30s at the studio, which are really good cameras. They're like entry-level cameras for videography, cinematography. But this is why I say YouTube is important. I just watched a YouTube video the other day. And on Think Media's channel, they gave you a tool. Yeah, right. You there's an attachment that goes on top of a camera. And what you can do is you can plug in your XLR cables into that and record directly from your Shure mic into the camera. Wow. So you don't even have to worry about using a Rodecaster Pro.
So the XLR from your mic is going to the receiver on top of that camera. Yes. And the camera, there's probably a cord that plugs into the camera.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It's crazy, right? So, so the XLR cable, it runs from here through your camera into the video. It's embedded. So little stuff like that. Yeah. You don't even have to buy a Rodecaster, bro. You can just buy the attachment that goes onto the top of your camera. Sony specifically, because all the other brands are trash, right?
Nice, Sony.
But yeah, just something like that will definitely help. Also, a lot of people might ask, like, if I shoot a podcast, who's going to edit it? There are so many AI softwares out here that you can use. Or there's things like the Blackmagic ATEM, which you can have a live person in here switching, which makes it also easy in post. But you can use, and I told him earlier, you can use a software called Autopod. Now, Autopod is only for Adobe Premiere Pro right now. I use Final Cut.
Ah, for real,
I know,
man?
yeah. But they're probably gonna eventually make it for Final Cut. What this AI software can do is it can edit your podcast within like 40 to 60 seconds.
But that's why I asked you about, because I tried to use it, but think it's best used when you got two separate audio files, because it has trouble trying to edit it with each voice on that same file. Okay, so that's the problem I ran into.
So try to run your XLR cable through the cameras, or try to go on your Rodecaster.
Do that setting.
Yeah. Switch it to stereo.
Okay.
Find out how you can pretty much separate the audio files, and you should be able to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. It's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a Final Cut type of guy, so I like how easy it is. And if you can find somebody to edit your podcast, edit it. But we always recommend getting a switcher. It's already recorded. It can record the ISO files if you get the right one. But that's what we do. Now, this is a quick little gem. The ATEM compresses it to 1080p. So if you want really crispy, and I'm talking about crispy visuals, what I recommend is that you record in the cameras. All right. And then,
like on SD card?
Yes. Make sure that you get the one that's recommended. We use the Extreme Pros that are black from Best Buy. So those record really good in 4K. And then use that to make your podcast. So you dump that into Autopod. It's going to not only keep the quality of the 4K, not compress it to 1080p, but it's going to have really good audio and a really good presentation.
That's a great jam. But then it's like, I guess, when do you, it's like, because one, the ATEM is like an employee in itself. So it's like, I guess you got certain instances where you would do that and not. That would be my battle. Like, okay, knowing I got to edit all this, even though, Autopod is then, that's the employee right there. So it's just, I guess before you go get an ATEM, you would do that then, huh?
Correct, yeah. I agree. And then they got other softwares like, let me tell you about one. And this is actually how I saved somebody $1,000. So shout out to my guy, comedian Lonnie. He was at Podcast Summit, and we ended up chopping it up, and he was like, hey, bro, like, I have an editor, like, and I'm trying to figure out, like, how to save money. I'm like, you can use Autopod, but let me tell you about some of these other AI softwares like Adobe Podcast, which pretty much, it'll take your audio and it'll enhance it. It'll make you sound very good. Now, I only recommend that software if you're doing a solo podcast, because if you do a guest podcast, it's going to mess up the audio. It's not going to sound right. You know, AI is still going through the kinks, but that's one of the ways in which you can enhance your audio. It'll take out the background noise, make everything sound really good and crispy. And then another thing that we use, you know, Dave might be mad at me, but we use.
Sorry, Dave, man.
You know what I'm saying? I got to get in the gyms. We use Swell AI. Swell AI is a very good software because we realize that speed, like, success loves speed. Right? So we take the audio file, we throw it into this AI software. It gives us a title, a summary, timestamps. It's literally everything that I need to do as a producer. And we're going full circle. How is it being a producer? My job is to make everything flow well and also make it easy in post-production. All right, so when I put the audio in there, I upload it to Red Circle, and then I upload it to the Swell AI software, and it literally gives me 5 titles. It gives me 5 summaries. It gives me timestamps, and that helps me on the productivity side.
So with your timestamps, is it giving you timestamps as far as like for clips to make, or just timestamps as far as then we go to YouTube, like chapter?
Yeah, it gives me chapters.
Okay.
Now some AI softwares that you can use for clips, and I'm not even gonna I'm gonna be honest with you. At Social Proof, we don't use AI. Everything is VAs or me and Reese editing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because Dave, he knows when something's AI. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes AI don't have the emotion you need. Or you can tell when it's stiff and professional. Like,
I agree. Yeah. Now I'm gonna show you how I've leveraged AI to help me, and I also do the intros for Social Proof Podcast, right? So I'll put the episode, and I just started this. I'll put the episode into Opus Clips. Let's use Opus Clips. And for those who don't know, that's an AI software that pulls clips from long form and makes it short form. It can put captions on there. It can put B-roll in there if you upgrade your plan and stuff like that. But long story short, it takes long form content and makes it short form content, right? So what I'll do is I'll throw the AI software in there. It pulls out all the best bars of the podcast. So now I don't have to sit through the entire podcast and watch it. Right?
He laughing for a reason. That's one of my. It's like I gotta edit it, but at the same time, I'm looking for these timestamps and timestamps of clips. But it's just like focusing on both of them. Yeah, man. And thank you for saying. You said Opus clips, right?
Opus clips.
You just really doubled down because one of my homegirls, Brandy, she's put out a little mini video, and that's what she recommended. So now I know for a fact. I think I do my research, but go back and look into that.
Yeah, we still don't use the clip. They were like, bro, this is trash. You're not giving me your best effort. And he knows when something's not good. So what I would do is I would just put my stuff into Opus clips, get the actual bars, because they'll find the good gems. And then go back into the episode and pull out that and make sure that I clean up the edit and stuff like that. You know, so I'm still technically editing, but speeding up the process of finding the juicy meat of the conversation.
Anytime save is
correct. I agree. So, and then a lot of stuff that we learned, and a lot of stuff that I learned from podcasts is just test it out. Like, test it out. But be yourself on camera, but test it out. And you won't know until you test it out. Like I told you before, or before we even started recording, the guy, Colin, he changed his thumbnail and his title, right? So he had an interview with Dantes Akram. Shout out to my guy, and shout out to Colin Johnson. But he had an interview with Dantes Akram. It peaked at 200 views. He changed his thumbnail and his title. And guess how many views it got?
Well, I already know the answer because you told me. But
it got over 500,000.
That's crazy, man.
500,000. The highest interview that we had as far as Growing Pains podcast, and I'm shout out to our podcast. We got the 100K mark, right? But
salute to y'all, flowers to take it back to the squad.
Thank you. Now we're just trying to build out our own channel and monetize that channel. But what I learned is the title and the thumbnail is very important. It's going to stop the scroll, and it's going to make people want to tune into the conversation. Now, when you get into the actual edit of the podcast, we always put an intro at the front or a movie trailer, right? We might go into the title or your intro song or whatever, and then you get into the actual meat and potatoes. I would actually test that as well. Some people might not want to hear all of that. They might just want to hear a quick sound bite, a quick bar, then you get right into the conversation. Because have you been on Instagram? You're scrolling, you see a video, and they say, "Hi, my name is Ronzell Teague." And
sometimes,
"Hi, my name is like that stuff's boring. Like when you get straight into those, here are the top 3 tips on how to create content.
So you get into those hooks matter a lot.
Correct. But podcasting a little different than social media. Social media is all about stopping the scroll, hitting those pain points, and definitely trying to solve a problem within 60 seconds.
Understood.
You know what I'm saying? And we have my guy Marty Wolf. They have so many people that come in the studio, and it's crazy because you're literally meeting people that do exactly what you want to do and that are killing it. And you can ask them without them charging you a crazy consultation fee.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Or they're just showing love. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I asked Marty, man, like some stuff about his Instagram, and he was like, "Hey, man, this is what you do. And you want to give people the 3 tips, but in order to get them to now join your community, you also want to give them a bonus tip. So go above and beyond. Like, don't just give them the 3 tips. Give them a bonus tip and then tell them that they'll be able to find more gems through your course or through your platform or through your community. That's how you can get people to hop off the app and now get, on whatever you want to sell. You know what I'm saying? So just simple stuff like that. Like, content is everything. Content is king. And once I realized that, I said, bump the clothing brand. Like,
so you think you completely done with it?
I quit. I'm not even gonna lie to you. That sounds crazy.
Because I remember I told you one time, that's how I seen you at Shan Spot a few times when I've been there. Then, of course, through Growing Pains, but I was like, I think when I had started following from that, I seen that shirt. I'm like,
yeah, I was doing all merch. Everything was merch. Everything was Cardia. That was our clothing brand which stands for heart. So we wanted to push self-love and self-motivation. So that's what our brand was about. But let me tell you why I quit. And I don't recommend quitting, of course. I'm a person that never quit.
Yeah.
But I quit, right? Because I knew that David Shams was going to be watching me. And I didn't want to be focused on so many different things.
Yeah, understood.
I knew that the person that can change my life and to get me into a whole nother different direction was going to be watching me. If you're interning or if you're applying for a job interview or anything, people are more likely to go to your social media, see who you are and how you act. And I wanted to make sure that I was the same person on social media as I was off social media. So I quit. Remind you, I'm actually happy to say this, but our brand hit over $50,000, which was great because it was just a part-time job.
Like, imagine tea was hard. Man.
Imagine you getting another $50,000. Now, of course, you got taxes and re-up and all of that, but it was hard for me to let it go because people knew me as this guy that's pushing this clothing brand. You know what I'm saying? But I knew in order to progress and get ahead in life, I had to focus on one thing and one thing only, and that was content creation. I didn't want you to come to my Instagram account and you see me pushing merch, and I was documenting everything. We would show how to package the orders. We would show us going to the post office. We would show us doing the photo shoot. I was the type of guy to show you everything behind the scenes to let you know we're real. Like, we're the people that's pushing the brand. But I let it go. And I'm happy that I did because it allowed me to focus solely on content creation and become an expert at making content.
Was it hard for you in that moment to decide?
Yeah, because you got to think about it. People are asking you, and we had one design that said natural bodies still matter, right?
That's how I knew you was in the
natural
shop
bodies
printing
still
it
matter.
up, man.
Yeah. So we did that, of course, with Black Lives Matter. But I wanted to take a shot. You good? I wanted to take a slight shot at all the people that got surgery. There's no offense to anybody who has surgery if you need it, right? Like if you're super overweight and you're on the verge of dying.
Facts.
But I don't necessarily believe in the BBLs and the gastro this and the gastro that. I always believe in hard work. If you believe in yourself up here, you can do anything you want to do. You can lose 300 pounds without laying on a surgery table. You know what I'm saying? You just have to know the proper things to do. Take the right amount of protein. Eat your 3 main meals. Stuff like that in order to get to your goal. Why take shortcuts and get surgery when you can just become mentally strong? You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much what had happened, you know?
It's crazy. It speaks as well as far as taking risk. And before that, the biggest thing, leaning on God.
Most definitely.
Just having that faith and knowing like, man, right now, I may not know how, but I know it is. Just because I know, like I say, right now we're here because we've overcome all these obstacles. God has kept us this long, so why wouldn't He keep doing it? So when you're in them little ruts and this and that, and thinking making them decisions, it's just like, man, think about what you done beat and came through, and just knowing the future it's gonna be fine as long as you doing your due diligence, making your good decisions, and just keeping your mind on a goal and keeping God first. It's like taking risks they're still high risk and some could be bad, but it's not as bad as you would be if you just don't have any faith in nothing and thinking like, oh, it's all on me. That's all I got. I'm knowing if it ain't me doing this work, this and that, is not gonna work. But you took a lot of risk and got rid of something I'm pretty sure you was kind of in love with. Like, hey, this is my brand. This is my message I'm putting out. But you seen the bigger picture and plan for that long term. Like, hey. God done put me in this room. What am I gonna do with this opportunity? You know what I'm saying?
You know what's crazy, right? And why I think God is always gonna be in the center of my life. My wife is all because of God, right? So, man, this ain't no relationship podcast.
This is real life stuff, though, man.
Me and my wife went to middle school together. And it's crazy, right? I'm gonna tell the true story.
Got history.
Yeah. So I tried to talk to her in middle school. You know what I'm saying? Boyfriend, girlfriend, little cute stuff. She was not paying me no attention. You know what I'm saying? I was very short. I had a big peanut shaped head. You know what I'm saying? I kind of grew into my body now, but she wasn't paying me no attention. So I'm doing my thing. I'm going through high school, connecting with other women. You know what I'm saying? And just figuring out life. And eventually, we rekindle in college. Remind you, she going to Georgia State. I'm going to South Alabama and Mobile. But this is why I say, like, God is real. So I had dated this girl in college for like almost 3 years. Thought I was gonna marry this girl. Eventually, it didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just, at this point, I'm just locked in on graduating, making good grades, becoming a successful adult, taking care of the training after college. But Khalees DMs me on Twitter. And she said, hey, like, I see you in town. You know what I'm saying? Can we just do a quick session? And I'm like, okay, bet. I'm finna, this payback. I'm like, $45 for the session.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And this is the person I had a crush on, so normally I do it for free. I'm like, bro, I need my money.
Yeah, you gonna see
my
what
$45 for this session, all right? So we go to the gym, we start working out. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey, you know, this is the workout session. Like, I'm gonna put you through it. We're gonna go through a whole session. It eventually became like, hey, let's go get some lunch. So I'm like, she's trying to get a free meal out of me, I see. You know what I'm saying? But we went to lunch. Long story short, man, lunch went from our first date. First date went from dating, doing long distance. And throughout this time, we connecting. We doing FaceTime. We doing all the stuff you should do if you actually care, distance, right?
Yeah.
We would meet, right? Atlanta, then you got Montgomery, and then you got Mobile. That's the halfway point. We would meet in Montgomery, chop it up for literally 2 to 3 hours, and then split. Dang. Go back our separate ways. And you call that crazy? I'm getting off work, driving to Mobile just to talk to her for 3 hours. But like I tell people, if you want to do something, you can do it. You want to get a girl, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You can technically do it, right? So I was putting in the effort. But my wife has definitely helped me become the hustler that I am today. I've always been ambitious, but my wife is the person that gets me out of those slumps when I think about giving up. Because I thought about giving up a lot of times. I'm going to be real with you. I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've thought about giving up a lot of times because stuff get hard.
Yeah.
I put $4,000 into the inventory with our clothing brand, and I'm telling people now, put $4,000 into the inventory thinking that I'm going to make back 8. And it flopped. It flopped. Now I'm $4,000 in the hole on my credit card. My wife like, it's okay, babe. It's okay. We gonna sell all the merch. And remind you, I had a text club. I had an email club. We were marketing it, but when it was time to actually like sell the clothes, nobody was buying it. And I'm like, it's stressing me out because we finna get ready to get married in a couple of months. You know what I'm saying? We having other life stuff going on, and I can't even flip the money that I was gonna use. Like, so I'm like, man, bro, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? My wife, the whole time, she's been my personal assistant. Me in my head knowing that she was just supporting everything that I wanted to do. She probably didn't even want to be my personal assistant, the co-owner, but she was supporting. Yeah. She would take the photo shoots with me. You know what I'm saying? She would do this and do that. But it's very important for you to have somebody in your corner that's going to uplift you and motivate you. And I'm a big advocate of getting married. Like, do it at your own race. I got married like last year, but I knew that it was time because she had sacrificed and put me before her. She was unselfish. You know what I'm saying? Some of the times where like I'm struggling, you know, I'm trying to figure out who I am as a person, she's there for me. Guiding me, motivating me every step of the way. And if you got somebody, especially my wife, Khalees, that's gonna uplift you, like anything is possible. Like I'm still young. I'm 26. Yeah, think about it. Most of those years was in warehousing. Like, but I'm 26. I'm around the right people. And most millionaires don't become millionaires till what age? Like 40, 50, 60.
Later on in life.
You know what I'm saying? I was just with Dave the other day. He said, the people around me gonna be millionaires. They stick with me the longest. And I've seen it. I've learned about real estate. I've learned about investments. I've learned about pitching. I've learned about webinars. I've learned about all this stuff by just being in the room. And that's very important. I didn't care when I quit my job. I didn't care about how much money I was going to make. I cared about the opportunity. And it's not about the money. It's about the connections.
That's
like,
going to come regardless.
The connections are key. Like, I was willing to even lose money in order to just get in the room, build that connection, because at the end of the day, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. Period. Like, this guy
do you
has
think
so
it's
much
50-50 or not to cut you
I ain't
off
gonna lie
again,
to you.
or it's like you think 100%?
Okay, so I got two answers to this, right? most people in the world aren't making 6 figures.
Facts.
Right? Most people probably making 40,000 max a year. So if you're living in a household, go 50-50. My wife understood that I was an entrepreneur. I'm the type of person, bro, I would throw my last at an entrepreneurship idea.
Telling you.
Right? Because like even with Jason, like he just tried stuff. You know what I'm saying? Until something eventually worked. Like my work ethic is gonna help me become a millionaire. I know that for sure. I haven't got there yet, but I will get there. But I believe that you should do 50-50 until you can do 100. Right? But this is why mindset is important. My wife is the type of person, she won't never let me do 100. If I was the person to pay all the bills, it would be either because she's sick, she's paralyzed, or something crazy like that. But she's the type of person to help out and still make her own money. Like, my wife is the type of person, she's not going to ask me for a dime. She might say, hey, can you buy me these Uggs every 6 months to a year? But she make her own money. She got her own motion.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's how we keep it. Now, this is what we do. We have our own separate account. So 2 own separate accounts. And then we have a joint account. We also have a joint Amex card, right? It's very important to have that joint card because it's going to help you both build your credit. Let's forget about the cash. Let's talk about a credit score. Like, credit score is going to be able to get you the car, the money, the business funds, anything you want if you have good credit, right? So we have our own personal account. She gets paid what she get paid. I get paid what I get paid. I'll always pay my bills first. So when I get paid, boom, put it in the joint. You know what I'm saying? Put it in the joint. Anything that I want extra, I pull out of my account. Anything that she wants extra, she put out of her account. Now, Khalees might shop on Amazon and do all the stuff that normal women do, right?
Yeah.
But in my account, I'm taking my check. I'm investing in stocks. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And then I'm bringing my ideology to my wife saying, hey, babe, instead of buying Amazon, let's go ahead and put your money into this stock right here. This is the dividend stock. This is the REIT stock, right? This is the real estate stock, all right? You don't even have to know about real estate. You can put your money into this REIT. R-E-I-T is a dividend stock. And you can own a piece of this company in order for us to make passive income. We about to have a kid together. I'm thinking of a custodial account. How can I get my son on payroll, or how can I build a Roth IRA account? That way, when he gets to applying for college and he becomes the valedictorian, he's not in the same situation that I was in, putting in all the hard work, coming up short and not being able to pay for school. Like, that was you know what I'm saying? Now, my parents are very hardworking individuals. I wouldn't like to tell people we're rich or poor. We're just very hardworking individuals. We've been evicted before. I remember being evicted, and it was so embarrassing because we had a big mansion. I don't want to say a mansion, but we had like a very big home. It had upstairs, downstairs. It was like 5-bedroom, 6-bedroom house. And I come home and all of our stuff is outside on the grass. And remind you, the people in this neighborhood, like, we all go to the same school. Like, so I'm in like 11th grade at this point. And it was so embarrassing because when I got to school, the girl in the neighborhood, she came to us, she was like, hey, Zell, like, I seen all of y'all stuff outside. Is everything good? I'm like, oh, yeah, everything good. We just moving. You know what I'm saying? We just moving to a different neighborhood. The whole time we got evicted. It wasn't that my parents were struggling. I mean, you could say that, but it was just bad financing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say that my parents are perfect, but I learned from that. Hey, like, learn financial literacy. Like, learn assets over liabilities. Buy things that you need instead of you want, and that's going to put you ahead. You ask me why I haven't really bought clothes. I don't need clothes. I mean, I got clothes to get to and from work. Yeah. I'm not gonna look bummy, but I'm not buying no Christian Dior. I'm not buying no bust down. This a Michael Kors. And I'm happy to say that, right? Because at the end of the day, this watch not. I mean, it might be able to get me into certain rooms, but the lesson behind that is if I buy a Rolex, then obviously I bought into maybe getting into a mastermind or something like that. But you can't judge a book based off of its cover.
I'm not this Rolex.
Correct. I'm not a lavish person. You know what I'm saying? I'm a very live below my means type of guy. Right? Because I believe that you need to invest your money so that your money can make money. And so you don't have to work forever. Right? And I also believe that you need to put your money into things that are going to help your money grow. So like a business or your stock market or real estate or a custodial account, a Roth IRA account for your kid. Me buying Dior, me buying Christian Dior, Louis Vuitton, all this Fenty.
It ain't helping nobody.
Celine, it ain't helping nobody besides the company. Correct. Correct. You know what I'm saying? Now, if they pay me to wear it, I'm putting it on.
Whole different story.
I'm little baby with it. I'm getting 200 on occasion.
Yeah.
But if they not running me my check, then I'm just going to wear it, whatever I feel is my style, but and whatever works for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's understood. But it's crazy, right? Because I know like everything you just said, it dealt with one, like bouncing off relationships, finances, and money management, just all, I guess, in totality, financial literacy, right? But I'm glad you went there because when I had asked you about 50-50, I was speaking on, do you think is 50-50 as far as 50% who you know, 50% who or what you know, but 100%. But it's just that still ties into everything you said because without that, that's like some foundational work you just gave out. Right. And I wasn't even thinking about it, but I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah. But just knowing those skills, like even with me growing up, financial literacy was not a thing in our home. It was the only thing they said was save your money. Well, okay, like my dad said, he said save your money and don't spend money to impress people because after high school, that's when you end up not knowing half of the folks ever again. Like college, you may get some lifelong friends, but from high school, sophomore, whatever, freshman year, and all this and that, don't spend money to impress folks and just save. But as far as either investing or separate accounts or save for a rainy day, or it was just like just save and that's it. But to me as a jit, save and do what?
Bro, save and do what?
Save it to spend it next week. Yeah, okay.
I need to enjoy this. It came out.
You know, but financial literacy is so important, especially in the Black communities. I know a lot of friends and family, it just wasn't a thing. And to know that it's not really taught about in school as it should be, that's just like as older as I got, it's like it shows school's not a setup, but why wouldn't you teach that? Correct. Why would you hold that back from just the basis of it, of what to do? I mean, some private schools may do it, but just as a public school curriculum, financial should be in there somewhere, man.
I got a question for you. If people were to learn financial literacy, who's going to be the people that work at McDonald's? Who's going to be your 9-to-5 employees? You
got a point. You got a point.
So what really helped me was my wife. I'm going to be real with you. I was in college. I was like, I didn't know anything about credit. I didn't know anything about FICO score, none of that stuff. I didn't know about disputes. I didn't know about any of that stuff. And I'm not a financial expert or nothing like that. But it got me into the mindset of actually taking my credit serious. My dad was telling me that, hey, I have a credit card in your name. I'm building your name up. I'm building credit history. I'm building your score up. So that way when you graduate, you got not only a credit history, but you got a high credit score. Whole time I'm just trusting them. You know what I'm saying? But when I finally started doing research, I'm like, Dad, I love you. Like, but you didn't prepare me for adulthood.
Yeah.
Like, I'm seeing you getting stuff in my name, which is like, I love my dad. My dad's been my role model since I was young, but it taught me, take your finances serious. And once I got hold, that was probably one of the hardest things, telling my dad, give me my stuff. It's my stuff now, and I'm going to run my race, because I knew that they needed, like, they were using they needed my support. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it was hard telling my dad, hey, give me my stuff. Let me run my own race. Let me take care of my family. And if you need some help, I'm here. But I got to run my own financial race, because I want to be able to tell my wife, we got to prove for this house. We got to prove for this car. We got to prove for this business loan. And we got to stay with our mom for another year. Yeah. We got to stay with our pops for another year. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I started taking my financing serious. I'm living below my means, because if I can take care of my credit score in my house, and I can maybe acquire an investment property. That's more important than me wearing the designer stuff. Like,
yeah, facts.
I'm not all for the likes and the views. Nah, I want to, like I tell people all the time, I got an Instagram account to make money.
Yeah,
If it wasn't for me trying to make money, I would not be on Instagram. But I got an Instagram account to make money. Yes, it's cool to have friends and the network and stuff like that. But most of the time, if we not talking about making money or becoming better men,
what are we talking about?
Or a better person, I'm sorry, bro. I cannot hold a conversation with you. Right? Because we only got 24 hours in a day.
Yep.
Like, if I ain't gonna lie to you, I've been in I'm an alpha. I've been in a fraternity. I've been to parties. I smoked. I drank. I did all of that stuff. I realized that this stuff is not gonna help me get to my end goal. It's fun, but sometimes you gotta distance yourself. And I'm not saying my fraternity is bad. No. Like, they helped me become a better man. They were the ones that got me into actually finding my identity. But if you don't have the right people around you, you don't have the right mindset.
Environment is important.
Yeah, you won't be nothing. Like, you're gonna be a product of your environment.
They say, not they. Let me not say that. Sorry, God. God says, we're meant to be set apart, right? So having said that, you did the right thing. It's like, I love y'all or whatnot, but I have goals. I got aspirations. I got plans, and in order for me to accomplish this, I can't be around us anymore. Even with me in college, I'm telling you. Legit, every Friday, what the crazy part about it was on a promo team, so that made it worse. Yep. We were in somebody's club, getting drunk, having fun. When it came to the schoolwork, this and that, I'm not trying to hear none of that. You know what I'm saying? But me getting older is like, I knew, like, I'm back in school now for another degree. But doing work then versus now, it is 10 times easier because I know the responsibility, what it takes, how to say no to that, and that's what fasting helped me out. Learning how to say that word no to one myself and all the other stuff. Knowing that stuff, it just made it 10 times easier to know you really got to be set apart from the masses to walk in your purpose and to fulfill that God-given purpose that He gave into you. So saying that, setting yourself apart, one, and as far as on a man tip, a lot of what you said, that's a part of being a man, dog. Most definitely. You want to provide for your family. You want to be able to say, we standing 10 toes down, not just because of the foundation you built as a man, but of course what we built in this household, but still as a guy, like, I'm supposed to be doing this and I want to feel good doing it, because half of the time if a guy's money isn't right or this and that, they're not themselves. And someone might be looking like, what's wrong? They may not say it, but 9 out of 10, it's something dealing with financially or mentally. Like when that ain't right, it's like you take a hit. Like, I can't give you what you want. I feel less of a dude because I can't provide. It's just, but every guy should want to be in that provision posture and whatnot. Like, this is what I can do for my wife, for my kids at the time, my girl, my mom, my dad. And again, even with Inherited and my brand by Tier, the whole basis is and it started with, I don't want to get the scripts wrong, but Proverbs, I want to say 13:22. Like, a good man leaves an inheritance for his kids, and wealth is laid up for this. A sinner's wealth is laid up for the righteousness. That's what it started from. And it's just like knowing how I grew up. I didn't have either a head start or my parents had nothing to give us. I mean, again, like I say, I give grace, right? As a child, I was like, bro, what's going on? But as the older I got, who knows what they were going through as a kids? But just fast forward, I don't want to have my child to say, oh, I got it out the mud. That story always sound cool, but it's up to me. If I don't have nothing to provide to you, what was I really doing as either a father or just as a guy, period, growing up? Like, why don't I have these resources for you? Why am I not able to at least give you at least 1 foot up? I may not be wealthy or rich, but I should have something to pass down to you while you're here, and also to give to you when you're going for your kids and your kids. So that's my whole mission, is to just, we got to push that narrative of, let's stop being selfish, living for ourselves. One day we gonna be old. We need those future doctors, those future trash workers, whatever they do. We need them. So let's pour into them and think about them. Because once we die, we can't take the bus downs. We can't take the Louis. We can't take the crib. So it's like, enjoy it while you're here. But if you want your last name to ring bells for years and years, it's up to you. Like, my slogan is, it starts with you. Like, whatever what you've been through today, it can start with you to change that whole trajectory of your bloodline. So just put in the work, put in the dedication, put God first and get it done. But I like that. But you said a lot, man, as far as this. inspiring the ears who's been on this podcast. But before we try to wrap it up, right? There may be a young guy, a young female, anybody who either just want to get motivated or who hear your story and say, now either I got to push or I want to be a content creator, podcast producer, right? So just talk to them and tell them and try to motivate them and get them some advice of how to get started or just what to do or just give them that mindset of get up and go. So try to help somebody out.
I got you, man. So I'm gonna look into the camera, man. And this is what I go by. This is what I changed my Instagram name to, which is Legendary Zell. I want you to be legendary. You might ask me, well, what does that mean? Being legendary is building a legacy so that you can be remembered long after you are dead and gone. We've all been born, but there's going to be a day in which we leave, and hopefully that's 99 or 100 years old. But people are going to remember you by something. You control whatever is between that dash, all right? So you got your born year and your end year, but you control that middle. Build your legacy, build your own story, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't, because you can. People have doubted me my entire life. I'm too small. I'm not this. I'm not that. Bro, I was the valedictorian, and I was doing 4 sports. I was the starter. I did all of this stuff because I believed in my mind that I could do it. So all you got to do is believe in yourself and have faith. You're going to have people that doubt you. Families, friends, cousins, girlfriends, best friends, this, that, and the third. But if you believe in yourself that you can do it and you stick to that, you can do anything you want to do. You might be a musical talent. You might want to be a rapper. Obviously, you see that people nowadays, they don't make good music, right? But they go viral. They're successful. Why? Because they believe in themselves. They have faith. And they're a brand. They're able to just be who they want to be. I don't really want to put Sexy Red in this whole motivational thing, right?
Do your thing, man.
But Sexy Red is not really, in my opinion, an inspiration, but she's a movement. She's inspiring people to be themselves and do what they want to do and make their own type of music. So long story short, in this message, just be who you want to be, build your own legacy, and create something that you want to create. Don't be a Sexy Red, okay? All right, but gotta laugh that off. Don't be a Sexy Red, okay? But just be who you are, and if you be who you are, the right people are gonna find you. I've lost friends, I've lost family members. We might not connect as much, but that's just because they understand that their mindset doesn't align with mine. It's okay. Like, it's okay. Like, you be yourself, you be a leader, and people are gonna follow you. That makes sense? But yeah, that's my message, man.
Nah, it makes sense,
message,
and there's a lot of gems, man.
Yeah.
But just as having you said all that, man, it's like, I just appreciate you for coming on, right? And also being a male figure on this platform. We need more males to be outspoken on the positive things in life, and because our young men, they out here lost. I mean, I'm not a female, but of course you can still see our young women are sometimes lost too. But as far as just being male and male, thank you for doing that. One, being open, being transparent, giving out free game that you did not have to give out.
No.
Not being the gatekeeper.
Hopefully I gave enough. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully I gave enough, bro.
But everything you said, I'm telling you, it was enough. If somebody can pull one gem out of this, job well done,
Appreciate
job
you, man.
secured, man. But having said that, before you leave, if you got any announcements that you got coming up, whatever you may be working on or something you about to release, let them know, and also tell everybody we can find you on social media.
I got you. So first, man, you can follow me on all social media platforms at Legendary Zell. It's LegendaryZell. Okay. And as you may know, man, I want you guys to also follow our podcast called Growing Pains Pod. You can follow us on Instagram at Growing Pains Pod with a Z. Okay. Don't forget that, because we represent all of the millennial and Gen Z, that space, okay? Also, right now, they like to ask people what do they want to do in 5 years, right? Right now, I'm working on a course or community. It's for all aspiring content creators. It's called Legendary Camp, right? And shout out to my guy, Brandon. His name is Brandon Shabby on Instagram. He inspired me to actually make this video community because he teaches photographers and videographers how to start, grow, and scale their business. But I solely just want to focus on people that want to do videography because I specialize in that, okay? But it's called Legendary Camp. I want you to be able to build a legacy through videos. And you see how I tied that with my brand? It all makes sense. So that's my plan within the next 5 years: grow, scale, build, and help others monetize their video creation, whether that's phone content or camera content, but through videos, okay? So if you're a person that's inspiring to be a content creator, you want to learn how to grow, scale, and just make money in general, from packages, from getting clients, learning all the things that I did and all the mistakes that I did. I'm going to put it all in this community course hub. So it's going to be really big. I don't know if you guys have heard of like full-time filmmakers, but they're really big on the video production space side. And I just kind of want to do that on my side. I'm going to be able to bring a lot of creators in because I believe that you can go fast solo, but you can go far together, right? So I'm going to collab with a lot of Atlanta creators that are actually good because that represents the brand and everything like that. You want to be able to have teammates that work hard, that represent your business or your brand to the T, like that are really good and professional. So I'm going to collaborate with Atlanta creators that do that specialize in things that I don't specifically know. So if somebody is good at commercials, I'm going to have that person that dominates in commercials show you how to start, set, film, shoot commercials. So just build a hub, a community for content creators. You know, that's my goal. I'm starting on it. I've been working on the course, but I'm taking my time because, like I tell people, I don't never ever want to tie my name with piss poor.
Yeah, understood.
In order to do that, man, you have to take your time. You have to put out quality work, and you know, like double check yourself. That's it.
Understood.
That's it.
Understood. I'm ready for it. I'm looking out for that.
Hey, man,
but again, man, thanks for pulling up. We had a great conversation. Again, a lot of gems dropped. But for everybody who tuning in, excuse me, I'm your host, Sir Gates, and Inherited Podcast. Make sure y'all tune in on YouTube at Inherited Podcast. Hit notification bell. Make sure you subscribe to that page. Leave a dope comment. Make sure y'all check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. That is at Inherited Podcast, NHERITD Podcast. I am Sir Gates. Follow me on IG too at Sir Gates BC. And once again, thank y'all for tuning in. Until next time, we'll see y'all in Inherited Podcast.
Let's get it, man. Hey, let's get it. Yeah, that was good.
Man.
Appreciate you, man.